So I showed you that guide at the beginning of the presentation, and it was called Yes, I Can. And in it, there are some handouts that we developed for learners to help them focus, to help with motivation, to help with certain specific issues or strategies that they could use to maximize learning in the classroom or online. So these strategy handouts are going to be available, I think, on the TLG website, or you can ask your coordinator if you're interested in looking at them. But I'll just read out the list quickly to you. So the strategies include using learning styles, using a visual schedule, using to-do lists and checklists, and ways to improve concentration. And I just want to point out that these are all learner focused. So it's not telling you how you can use these strategies. It's telling the learner how they might try using them. Tips for handling stress, tips for test-taking anxiety, for relaxation, or using a mantra that goes with that meditation piece, for positive self-talk. One of the TLG staff suggested to me that this might be an important one because she found that many times the learners she works with are not using very positive self-talk. It could be because they've already had some discouragements at school in past experiences. And so it's really important to kind of maybe suggest that and say, using some positive messaging to yourself can make a big difference. One thing I suggest to learners is to write a positive message to themselves on a sticky note or sticky notes and place them where they work. I've seen some of my coworkers do that too. Oh, there's a few more. This is the last slide of these. So tips for time management, tips for improving memory, tips for using mnemonics, which is a memory device, for constructive feedback. So this is an interesting one. What I discovered when I worked with adult learners is that they typically don't really understand constructive feedback because they maybe haven't had a situation where that took place. So if I would offer them some praise for certain parts of their work and say, wow, I like what happened here, and this was very clear to me and understandable, and you did a great job here. But here's one thing that I would like to see more of, or here's one thing that I think could be even better. They had trouble with that because they didn't understand it as a learning tool. They kind of saw it as a criticism. So this strategy handout is about helping learners frame constructive feedback in a way that helps them to learn rather than to feel kind of like discouraged. Okay, two more. Social skills practice and tips for solving a problem. So the handouts are a bit text heavy. They were developed for learners that are maybe slightly at a higher level than the ones that you will be working with right now. So I definitely suggest that you go through the handout with the learner and read it with them. I might even suggest that you chunk the handout. So you go through one tiny bit of it, and then another day you go through another tiny bit of it. These were the suggestions that we came up with. And whether you're in the classroom or not, these might be ways that you could help the learner to use the handouts. So posting the list of handouts that I just showed you somewhere where the learner can see it might encourage them to say, oh, hey, I saw that there was a handout about this, and I think that might be helpful to me, so I'd like to try it. The next one is to provide the handouts where the learner can access them, especially if they've asked you for the handout, let them know how to get it. Then, as I said, go over the handout with the learner. I think that's really important because if you just hand them the handout, it might become a thing where they don't have success with it, and then it's kind of backfired. So go over it with them. Get them to self-assess. Is this a thing that might work for you? Do you want to try it? And then try it together if they do. So you do the strategy with them. You're doing it for yourself. They're trying it for themselves. And support them and praise them while they try it because it's hard to learn new things. It's hard to create new strategies for yourself and be open to that. Once you get all that done, and if something is working, you can encourage them to self-manage the strategy. So you can say, so next time you sit down to do your homework, try the strategy again, and then definitely follow up with them and find out how it worked. I often ask learners to give me feedback because it's going to help me improve how I deal with this strategy for the next learner, but also because it gives them some ownership of it. Once again, they're saying, I am a self-managing adult here who knows what works for me and who knows what doesn't. So some of this strategy might have worked and some of it didn't, and that's okay. So these are just follow-up questions that I had in mind for how you can check with them if the strategy was working. How did it work for you? Can you show me how you're using it? and which one worked best or which part of it worked best.